It's Wednesday, March 12. In the headlines, Finance Minister Favour Williams announces income threshold increase and a cut in electricity GCT in her budget debate presentation. In business news, lands in Bernard Lodge sold to AYD Construction Limited. Regionally, University of West Indies backs Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, on defending Cuban health services. And in sports, Caribbean Airlines, a new partnership with Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association, Grace Kennedy's Boys and Girls Champs. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The income tax threshold will be increased to $2 million over a 3-year period starting April 1. That's the word from Finance Minister Favour Williams. While presenting the opening address to the annual budget debate, she said the threshold would first rise to $1.8 million.
We are a responsible government, and so we'll increase the threshold in 3 tranches. To 1.8, then 1.9, then 2 million over a 3-year period, starting April 1, 2025.
Finance Minister Favour Williams says implementation of the promised reduction in the general consumption tax on electricity from 15% to 7% is on track for implementation on May 1. The reduction was initially announced by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness in November last year.
Additionally, Madam Speaker, for those postpaid residential customers who consume 250 kilowatt hours or less, they will see a rebate of 7% and a 3% subsidy for a total of 10%. This is a caring government, Madam Speaker.
The government has begun wage negotiations with public sector unions for new agreements, with Minister of Finance and the Public Service Favour Williams confirming that 11 claims have been received so far. The current 3-year contract period is set to end on March 31. Minister Williams provided the update during her maiden budget presentation as Finance Minister in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, where she opened the debate on the proposed budget for the 2025-2026 financial year.
The Finance Minister says the government has allocated $496 billion for compensation to public sector workers.
Compensation for government employees is in the budget at $495.8 billion, and it includes new rates of pay for medical consultants, dental surgeons, parish court judges and probation aftercare officers, back pay for medical consultants and parish court judges, and allocation to support the employment of agricultural wardens.
She says $33 billion has been earmarked for compensation contingency provision for public sector wage settlement,
including a provision of $3 billion to support the filling of vacant technical positions in regional health authorities.
Minister Williams says several claims have been submitted from various public sector unions, including the Jamaica Civil Service Association, Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and more.
Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Police Officers Association, POA, and groups within the health sector. The government has commenced discussions with the unions and associations for the new contract period. The continued engagement of all stakeholders remain key to the maintenance of harmony in the public sector.
The national budget debate will continue Thursday with opposition spokesman on finance, planning and the public service, Julian Robinson, making his presentation, followed by Leader of the Opposition Mark Golding on Tuesday, March 18. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is scheduled to make his presentation on Thursday, March 20.
Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, is expanding its services to improve taxpayer convenience by introducing Saturday operations at select tax offices across all parishes. Currently, TAJ provides weekend services on the last Saturday of each month at select locations. However, Finance and Public Service Minister Favour Williams announced that additional Saturday openings will be introduced.
But, Madam Speaker, while we strongly encourage the use of our online access, we recognize that it takes time to transition some people to the online world. And so I asked the Commissioner of Taxes to have a tax office opened in every parish on a Saturday to ease the congestion during the week and make it easier. We will announce those dates as those offices are opened on a Saturday in every parish across Jamaica, and in time, the parish of Portmore will get one. We should make it as easy as possible for Jamaicans to pay their taxes.
While approximately 80% of tax revenue is collected through online services, Minister Williams acknowledged the need for in-person options.
We should be rolling out the red carpet for taxpayers who told us in a survey that I showed you earlier that they understand the implication if TAJ does not collect taxes. Madam Speaker, we are a government that listens. We are a government that cares. And having a tax office open in every parish on a Saturday is good news.
The move is in response to public demand for greater accessibility to tax services and is expected to improve efficiency while boosting revenue collection. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness announced new investments for the country's health sector during a recent ceremony at the National Chest Hospital. The event unveiled a monument honoring healthcare workers who lost their lives protecting Jamaicans during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And we have been able to increase investment in healthcare significantly. When Minister Tufton comes to speak in the sectoral debate, I'm sure that he will outline the massive investments that we have made, in addition to new plans and in addition to plans to increase the care and heart in healthcare.
The Prime Minister emphasized the government's commitment to strengthening resilience in the health sector.
It is out of a commitment to strengthening the healthcare system and to strengthen the healthcare workforce that we launched the Dr. Barry Wint Memorial Scholarship in 2024, investing $2.5 billion to support 607 students pursuing studies in medical technology, nursing, biomedical engineering, and other critical health-related fields. This initiative honors the legacy of Dr. Wint and the critical role that our healthcare workers play in national development. But more importantly, it ensures that we are building a robust pipeline of professionals dedicated to service in the health sector.
He also highlighted the importance of maintaining resilience across all sectors in the Jamaican economy.
Now, some may wonder why at times economic matters seem to dominate our national conversation, or why is it that I bring economic matters into all elements of our national conversations? Well, the answer is that economic resilience translates to resilience of every aspect of our governance, including our healthcare system. in our education system, in our security forces, but most importantly, in our ability to respond to crisis. If our economy isn't doing well, we cannot respond adequately and effectively to crises.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Hualien International Holding, the Hong Kong-based parent company of Pan-Caribbean Sugar, has sold 44,674 acres of land at the Bernard Lodge Sugar Factory in St. Catherine to AYD Construction Limited. In a report filed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and sourced by R Today, the land bought in 2013 was valued in 2024 at US $900 and reported to have no commercial value in relation to sugar production. That said, Pan-Caribbean has agreed to sell the land to AYD Construction Limited for US $2.55 million. AYD Construction Limited has been engaged in several activities in Jamaica since 2014 and was involved in the execution of public and private sector development projects. These include building bridges for the North-South Highway, construction of Kingston Wharves Limited Total Logistics Facility, Palmyra Luxury Beach Condo Hotel, New Kingston Business Center, One Belmont, and Fosrich's new warehouse. Co-owner of AYD Construction, Chris Zhu, said his intentions for the Bernard Lodge property is to build a factory and warehouse there. Investors can set their calendars for when to expect dividend income from listed companies. Productive Business Solutions Limited has advised that the board of directors at a meeting scheduled for March 18, 2025 will consider dividend payments to the 9.25% and 10.5% perpetual cumulative redeemable preference shares of the company. Sagicor Group Jamaica Limited has advised that the board of directors at a meeting scheduled for March 25, 2025 will consider a final dividend payment to shareholders of the company. Jamaica Stock Exchange Limited has advised that the board of directors at a meeting scheduled for March 27, 2025 will consider a dividend payment to shareholders of the company. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited has advised that the board of directors at a meeting scheduled for March 17, 2025 will consider an interim dividend payment to ordinary shareholders of the company. Corporate executives are buying and selling shares in their respective companies. Supreme Ventures Limited has advised of the following transactions. A connected party sold 149,482 Supreme Ventures shares on March 6, 2025, and then a director purchased 319,424 shares on March 10, 2025. A related entity sold 319,424 shares on March 10, 2025. JMB Group Limited has advised that the purchase of 133,251 JMB shares during the period of March 6 to March 7 under the company's share buyback program. NCB Financial Group Limited has advised that a connected party sold 1,312,198 NCB shares on March 7, 2025. For the trading period ending March 11, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Investment house Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 6,290,435 units traded, representing 21.2% of market sales volume. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited with 6,028,984 units traded, representing 20.32% of market sales volume. Advertising agency and real estate holding firm Kintyre Holdings Jamaica Limited with 1,860,515 units traded, represented 6.27% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rates set by the Bank of Jamaica. On March 11, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $57.24 million purchased and US $67.14 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.80 per dollar, selling the US at $157.66 and buying the US at $155.86. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $1.79 per transactions, with selling at $108.86 and buying at $107.07. The British pound yielded Forex traders $6.02 in profit, with selling at $204.20 and buying at $198.18. For our credit report tip of the day, divorce isn't the end, it's a fresh start. By rebuilding your credit, you position yourself to create sustainable wealth through multiple income streams. Here's how. Consider that business credit can help you to finance a reliable vehicle. A car with an affordable financing can help you run a mobile business, drive for ride-share services, or deliver goods. Alternatively, good credit can help you secure lease agreements for Airbnb or short-term rental opportunities. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, is supporting Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley's stance not to be intimidated into withdrawing support for Cuba's health services. Earlier this month, U.S. President Donald Trump and Senator Marco Rubio criticized Cuba's medical missions, labeling them as forced labor and threatening visa sanctions against countries employing Cuban doctors.
Speaking at the commissioning of the Port of Spain Central Block on Monday, Dr. Rowley defended Trinidad and Tobago's right to hire Cuban health professionals. And at the UWI's Campus Council meeting on Tuesday morning, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles touched on the issue.
I saw the Prime Minister of the Republic here, Dr. Rowley, making it clear that this country will not be intimidated in respect of the support given it by the Cuban health services. And we're being told that we have to pay a price if we continue to collaborate on a regional basis. I see the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, has said the same thing.
And Sir Hilary said the University of the West Indies has been leading from the front in terms of this regional unity and partnership.
Of Havana right now, when you walk into the center square of the University of Havana, you will see a building. And on that building, it says, University of the West Indies, Center for Sustainable Development. There, in Havana, in their university, we built that there, working with the government and people of Cuba. And I was honored to go over there and pull that ribbon to allow the UV.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown says Antigua and Barbuda and its Caribbean neighbors could feel the ripple effects from the imposition of tariffs, as well as United States restrictions on the Cuban medical program. However, the head of government is calling for meaningful dialogue between countries of the region and the Trump administration in Washington. Jamie J. Rocha reports.
From the food we eat to the tourists who visit, Antigua and Barbuda's economy is tied to the United States. But Prime Minister Donald Gaston Brown warns new U.S. trade policies, including tariffs on goods from China, Canada, and Mexico, could drive up prices here.
A lot of the goods that we purchase, they don't necessarily emanate out of the United States. Yeah. They may emanate out of China, out of Canada, India, out of Mexico. And when you have an increase in tariffs by about 25%, automatically you're carrying up the price and making it more difficult for us.
In response, Cabinet is looking for ways to reduce Antigua and Barbuda's reliance on imports. One solution, boosting local food production.
I've said to my colleagues that we may have to give some small grants as well to get people to grow food. $5,000 or $10,000 for agriculture. And that is one of the mitigating strategies to incentivize people, even with some cash, to grow more food, because we have become really nonchalant about our food security.
The Prime Minister also says if the U.S. economy slows, few Americans could vacation in the Caribbean, impacting tourism. But tariffs aren't the only concern. The U.S. opposes the Cuban Medical Brigade, calling it forced labor. The Caribbean relies heavily on Cuban doctors and nurses, and Prime Minister Brown says punishing Caribbean nations for working with Cuba could cripple healthcare systems.
If they were to take any punitive action against Caribbean countries because of the involvement of Cubans who are providing healthcare services, they will literally dismantle our healthcare services and put our people at risk.
The Prime Minister says he rejects the U.S. claim that the Cuban Medical Brigade is forced labor and is calling for negotiations, not threats.
We totally reject that notion that we're involved in any form of human trafficking. The nurses and doctors and technicians, Cuban technicians, they've been paid. If we have to review the payment mechanism, that is something we can look at.
Prime Minister Brown says negotiations are key and hopes upcoming talks with U.S. officials will lead to practical solutions. Jamie J. Roche, ABS News.
The measures introduced by the Barbados government in the 2025 budget are likely to have a positive impact on businesses. This was a feeling coming out of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry and PricewaterhouseCoopers post-budget discussion forum at the Hilton Barbados Resort on Tuesday. Trevor Thorpe reports.
President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, James Clark, said the budget was one of resilience, which included financial and digital transformation, along with measures to improve the social fabric of the country. The BCCI official said the Chamber supports the removal of the value-added tax on essential food items, the push towards climate resilience, and the initiatives for agriculture.
The budget, in our opinion, is strong on foreign exchange generation and reserves. And since tourism is the single largest contributor to foreign exchange earnings, establishment of the Barbados Ocean and Coastal Authority to manage our coastal and ocean resources is critical to maintaining our beaches, not just for our own enjoyment, but as a tourism asset. Similarly, we applaud the vesting of lands into the Barbados Nature Conservancy Trust. On government fiscal and debt management, we are pleased with the continued efforts to reduce debt and government's commitment to bringing the debt-to-GDP ratio below 100% this year and continue the trajectory to reach the 60% debt-to-GDP target within 10 years.
Head of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Dr. Tricia Tannis, said it was a nice all-round budget, but it lacked a strategy to reduce the cost of healthy foods.
As much as I support the thrust to reduce NCDs, and it is a must, and the government has been congratulated for putting that in the crosshairs, I would like to see, though, an equal amount of strategy and emphasis on reducing the cost of healthy foods. Because when housewives or mothers, particularly in the vulnerable economic population, go into the supermarket, they are not making a nutritional choice. They are making an economic choice. And all of us as mothers have done it. You simply give that woman an impossible decision to make.
Lecturer in economics at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, Dr. Antonio Aline, said he supports the call for productivity, but a number of factors should be acknowledged. Foremost is supply chain challenges.
I think the approach taken by government, and I'm trying to be fair here, is their attempt to manage inflation. However, it is short-sighted, I must say, because if you look in the long term, as was noted in the same budget, most of our inflation is imported. But there's also a logistical element to it that nobody's discussing that needs to be addressed. Our supply chain and logistics is an issue. So these things are issues that need to be dealt with in a matter of efficiency too as well. So if we can deal with these things, that would create, because we can't do anything about the imported inflation. However, we can manage our logistical systems and make it more efficient, therefore making it cheaper.
Minister of Educational Transformation, Senator Chad Blackman, also supported the call for increased productivity and efficiency and said the measures will touch both government and the private sector.
It's really an all-of-society issue, and there's a deep cultural element that we're failing to really address. But I think if every sector, every business, every household now puts into their daily activities KPIs, where you now measure how you do business, productivity then will become part of the new culture.
The need for effective implementation of the various measures was also highlighted at the meeting. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
In sports, we lead off with athletics. Caribbean Airlines has revealed a new partnership with the Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association. Caribbean Airlines has been designated the official airline partner of the ISA Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships. A release from the airline highlighted that this partnership reflects Caribbean Airlines' commitment to supporting regional sports excellence and youth development, offering seamless traveling solutions for athletes, officials, and spectators attending the prestigious event. The president of CAL says, quote, Caribbean Airlines is proud to connect you with this iconic event, bringing you home to experience the electrifying energy of champs. The partnership includes special discounted fares for champs travelers and branding presence throughout the National Stadium and across champs media platforms. The Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport and the Guyana Cricket Board on Tuesday launched a historic One Guyana Under-21 50-over cricket competition for clubs across the country. Slated to start in 2 weeks' time, the knockout tournament will have matches in Berbice, Demerara and Essequibo. Following this phase, the county champions will qualify for a national playoff set for April 22 to April 27. Teams desirous of registering for the competition have between March 12 to March 19 to do so. Registration will be done solely through the respective county boards. And sport, Charles Ramson Jr., in endorsing the tournament and underlining its significance in bridging the gap between youth and senior cricket, emphasized the need for its replication at the regional level. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.